Why don't we do this? Open the floor to get in a few questions. And I have some written down here. Some of you have been typing in questions as I've been talking. Thank you so much for participating and for having questions and for engaging with this. Really appreciate it. I think this is going to be really helpful for you. Okay, so we have some questions that we can look at. First of all, I have some written down here that I want to highlight for you. Number one, someone says this. I'm going to read this question. I have, hold this up here. I have a 7-year-old boy who was diagnosed PDD. We work with a lot of children with PDD. It's sort of the catch-all diagnosis that doesn't really help you very much, but says that our children are on the spectrum somewhere. So I have a child who's diagnosed with PDD when he was close to 4 years old. He is high-functioning and in a mainstream private school, which is just wonderful. Good for you and good for him. The classroom is big, and he's experiencing auditory processing problems. Okay, no surprise there. He's also experiencing social problems, and he already had some speech delay problems. Okay, fair enough. I hear that. We have been doing the SCD for 2 years. For those of you who aren't familiar with that, SCD stands for Specific Carbohydrate Diet. And diet is absolutely crucial. That's another thing we talk about on the DVD and also in the startup program. Diet is crucial. I don't have time to go into detail with that, but specific carbohydrate is definitely a diet you're going to want to look into. It involves doing certain things like eliminating gluten, a complex protein in wheat and other grains, casein, a complex protein in milk and milk products. It also involves drastically cutting down sugar and restricting carbohydrates because of the biophysiology in a lot of our kids' bodies. They react to that in a way that is really harmful for them and not helpful for their neurological development. I could go on and on about that. I love talking about diet, but I just want to say to you who asked the question, good for you for doing the specific carbohydrate diet for 2 full years. I totally admire that. That's awesome for your child. They're also doing in-home occupational and speech therapies along with some holistic interventions. Not sure what you mean by holistic interventions. But in the last year, we have not seen progress, and I could say we've even seen some regression. What programs would you offer to us, and what kinds of results could we expect? Okay. So first of all, your concern, you're certainly not alone in it. We've talked with so many parents who are in a bit of the rut that you're in and trying to help their child, but they see their child hasn't been progressing, and maybe they've been what some people would call regressing a little bit. First of all, I'm going to say something that is probably controversial in some circles, which is this. The best starting point is to take your kid out of school. And if you are totally unwilling to do that, take your child out of as much school as you're willing to do. I would recommend take your child out of school. Now, forever? Absolutely not. The thing to understand about the Sunrise program is it is a powerful, temporary program designed to get powerful, permanent results. That's the point of it. It's a temporary program designed to get permanent results. So we don't mean take him out of school for the rest of his or her life. Of course not. But by taking him out of school, you can get your son to a point where he can go back to school later and actually be successful at it and not have this feeling of the classroom's big, he's completely overwhelmed by the audio stimulation in the room, he has social problems and maybe the other kids might or might not treat him in a certain way. We don't know what the teacher's like. Maybe the teacher gets frustrated with him sometimes. In a school, you're in an environment, and I don't blame the teachers or anyone for this. It's a tough situation being in a room with a huge room with a bunch of kids. That's why we don't do it. But what the situation is he's in a situation which is designed for his non-success. And that's nobody's fault. It's just the way it's set up. But the best thing to do is get him out of there. And actually we can help. That's why you should come to a startup. We can really, really help you with this. We can help you set up a home-based program. And again, if you're completely unwilling to do that, we can help you set up a part-time home-based program. There are a lot of parents that do that, where they go to school part-time and they come home and do part-time programs. But given what you're telling me about him, is an incredibly good argument that you're making for why we have this specialized learning environment, which we call the Sunrise Program Playroom, that we help you set up. I don't have time to talk about all the aspects of setting up a playroom, but I would just say this. Consider taking him out of school. Definitely come to a startup program. I would also say to make your house and his bedroom and your living room as little stimulating as possible, as low stim as possible, without a lot of music, without a lot of people running around, without a lot of pictures on the wall, the more you can do that, the more he's going to be in a better situation from a sensory integration point of view. Now, it's really incredible to think about this, because I want to highlight one thing that I could jump off of from what your question is. We have this new area that we've been talking about lately, and we will eventually have a webinar just on this subject. It's called the recovery mode. Now, people know, of course, that if you do a Sunrise program and you do the proper biomedical intervention with your child, dietary intervention, and other biomedical interventions with the supervision of a doctor, that you're gonna help your child to be more successful in the Sunrise program. It's going to improve what you're doing. But what is not acknowledged and not understood enough is that what you're doing in the Sunrise program actually enhances what you are going to do biomedically. What people don't realize is that most of our children spend most of their time in something called fight or flight. I was talking with a Dr. Faber in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who is a big fan of the Sunrise program. He runs a pediatric wing down there, and he sees a lot of children with autism. And you know what he saw? He saw that these children had chronically elevated levels of cortisol or adrenaline, right, stress hormones going through their body, and so that these kids were basically in fight or flight. And what's actually quite fascinating, by the way, which is also not known by a lot of people, is that the stimming activities that our kids do is actually designed to deal with this. Their children are trying to take care of this. When a child does an ISM, by doing a steady, repetitive activity, do you know that it actually increases, it settles down the child's sort of hype level, but it also increases the levels of dopamine, the neurotransmitter dopamine, which actually helps to wash away some of the adrenaline and cortisol and helps child to get to his proper optimal level. It's very interesting. So when we stop our children, it's actually creating more of what we don't want. Here's why I say that. What this Dr. Faber found also is that when people were doing Sunrise type principles, when they were joining children, when they had children in a specialized, not overstimulating environment, when the person had an attitude that was really comfortable and welcoming to the child, that actually for the first time these child's levels of adrenaline and cortisol started to drop into normal ranges. Isn't that amazing? And do you know what that means? It's only when they're in normal ranges that children can really be interactive in a comfortable way. And it's also it's the time when your body's in what's called SPR. And that stands for Sustained Physiological Repair. You need to be in sustained physiological repair to recuperate from anything. And our children, a lot of them, have a lot of biophysiological issues. So what you want to do is, oftentimes we're doing all these medical interventions, and that's great, but we're doing them on a body that is in fight or flight, which is in the place that is the worst place to actually repair and get better. So the Sunrise program is great at shifting our children from fight or flight mode, from survival mode, into recovery mode. Recovery mode is where interaction happens. It's where biological repair happens. And ultimately, for the kids that recover from autism, that's where full recovery comes from as well. And we have worked with kids who have made complete recoveries just like me. We're so excited about it because it shows that autism doesn't have to be a life sentence. It's one of the benefits of having a program that was developed by parents for parents. It's developed by parents for parents. That's what's so great about the Sunrise program, because it's catered to parents and it's catered to an atmosphere where we believe in your child the way you believe in your child. And just like you're not going to give up on your child, we're not going to give up on your child. And the best thing that I could recommend to this person asking this question, take a startup, consider taking your child out of school, make your house less overstimulating. Right? And if he is doing something, if he is interested in something, your son, talking about a specific subject or doing something that feels stimmy, do it with him. Don't try and stop him. Don't try and redirect him. Do it with him. That's the first steps that I would recommend. Okay, we have some other questions. This person right here wrote, I have a 3.5-year-old daughter on the mild side of the autism spectrum. Gotcha. I'm 150% sure I want to go to Massachusetts for the next startup program and that this is what my daughter needs. Well, first of all, 150% sure. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I thought maybe you were going to say you were 100% sure. 150% sure? That kind of puts you over and above the average Joe. So I'm excited about that. 150% sure. We are here to welcome you. We're excited to have you. 150% sure that this is what my daughter needs. I'm certain that this is what she needs, but I will be heartbroken if I'm still in my current financial position when it is time to start, which is not good at all. Okay, I hear that. Should I try to start this now, even though I know I can barely afford the starter kit? The starter kit is a series of books and CDs that help you get started before your startup program, for those of you who aren't familiar. So should I try to start this now, even though I know I can barely afford the starter kit? I'm ready to do this with her ASAP, but the funds aren't there, so I feel horrible. First of all, you're not the only person in a financial tough situation. We work with parents like that all the time. You got a lot on your plate. I hear that. Autism is expensive. I mean, if you just think of the dietary and medical stuff alone, whew, that's huge. I mean, actually doing a Sunrise program is a small minority of the costs of having a child with autism. But also, I want to remind you, we have financial aid available. We also, if you talk to one of our family counselors, have that call that you're not going to be charged for, they can also, they're great at this. They've had years of experience. They can brainstorm with you on how to actually fundraise the money that you need. Now, the key is you definitely want to get here. Get here for a startup. Now, after that, we can help you ongoingly, but you certainly, this is not a program you have to be rich to do. Most of our families who do this are middle-class families. Some are really struggling financially, some aren't. And we'll teach you how to recruit a team of volunteers that you don't have to pay, that will help you, that will work with your daughter according to the way that you want her worked with, that will follow your lead. One of the things that's really unique about a Sunrise program is that we don't want you parents to step aside and let us do our job. We don't think that you as parents are in the way. You as parents are the way. Parents aren't in the way. They are the way. And we see that over and over again. Only reason I can have this conversation with you is because of my two parents who had to defy a lot of people to help me the way that they helped me. So I know it might seem hard in your current situation. I hear that. And I know giving you strategies doesn't immediately make your financial situation go away. I totally hear that. But the thing is I know you can do this. I personally worked with so many families who've really scaled mountains for their kids. I know that you can do this to help your daughter. I know that you can make this program work. We will help you. You don't have to do it alone. And we will help you fundraise. We will help you get some financial aid. We'll help you get here. And then we'll help you implement and sustain an ongoing program so that you can really help your daughter. I'm 100% sure that you can do this and that we can help you do it. So definitely give us a call. Get one of those initial calls. So we can definitely help you. Part two that you wrote to your question, in your opinion, would this be a worthwhile program to start with her if I want to use it for the next year or two and then transition her to pre-K as a homeschooler? She no longer gets therapy and is not in school or daycare, and I fear she will become stagnant. Okay, well, I definitely don't think you would continue to want to not have her in something, in a program. I think the best thing to do is come to us, go get started with this, and what we will do is we'll help you set up the best program that you can for her. Again, if you just want to do it for the next year or two, look, this isn't a program you have to commit 10 years to in order to do it. Anything you do is going to start to yield you benefits with your daughter. So that's fine. And you also may change your mind. We have some parents who decide they're going to do it for 6 months and they end up doing it for a year and a half because they're seeing so much benefit, and then their child gets to a point where they might feel that they don't need it anymore. So we'll help you do it for as long as you want to do it for, but there's no minimum amount of time that you have to do it or it's not worth it or anything like that. All right, thank you very much for your question. Okay, let's see, any other key questions? Okay, I'm going to look on my little question screen. Hold on. Oh, this is really sweet. This person wrote, I attended your December startup program, and it changed my whole way of teaching all the kids that I work with. Oh, this is a professional. Good for you. Awesome. I have so much respect, by the way, for professionals who come to a startup program, because we have a few professionals in every startup program that we run. I have an enormous amount of respect for them, because most parents' experience of professionals is that they push them aside, they aren't helpful, they're busy doing it their own way, and they don't listen to the parents' input. And then there are this core of professionals who've devoted their lives to helping the same kids that we help. You love the same kids that I love. How amazing is that? How cool is that? And that you would then take your time and your money and you go and spend a week learning this, where you're going to, 1, be in a room full of parents and really hear their point of view, 2, get really practical, child-centered strategies, and then 3, be able to implement this in your practice or in your school. I mean, I have nothing but the utmost respect for that, and I really appreciate that. So you came in December, good for you. And it changed the whole way of working with the kids that you work with. That is amazing. It's been a huge change to all the kids' attitudes, too. Wow, cool. Thank you. What can you recommend for older kids with missing social skills? Okay. Again, there's lots of different things that I can recommend. It's a great question. I just want to give you a little piece here because we're focusing today on a lot of big picture stuff, overview stuff on how we are with our kids. Those main principles that I was talking about today are absolutely applicable. If you want to help older kids with missing social skills, okay, the first thing is, remember, don't get caught up in behaviors. Meaning, don't try and teach the child to say please and thank you. That's not going to be your way home. Okay, you want to do 2 things. First, get really interested in what they're interested in. Join them in it. Get excited about it. Talk about it with them. That's number 1. 2, try and keep them for a little while. Try and keep them away from situations where they're going to experience a non-successful social interaction. Meaning, if you can, the less you can have them sort of just thrown in with a group of kids where they have to fend for themselves and they might not do such a great job of it, that's not going to be helpful, because that's going to then, they're going to keep associating non-success and difficulty with social interaction and creating relationships. Here's one thing you want to keep in mind. Everything that you do, whether this is parent or professional here, everything you do with your child, everything, whether you're in a playroom, out of a playroom, I don't care what, you want to imagine you are a salesperson, but you're not selling anything that costs money, which is kind of cool because I don't think your child has any. You're not selling anything that costs money. You are selling human interaction. Right? You're selling being a part of our world. You're selling looking. You're selling talking. You're selling playing a game. You're selling making a joke. Right? And you got a kind of a finicky customer in your child. Right? Now ask yourself this. Is the best way to sell this product to go, oh my God, listen, come here. I have the best product for you. You're going to love it. It's called Being Part of Our World. It's really wonderful. You're going to like it. I have a feeling. It's good. I can give it to you at rock bottom prices. Here's the cool thing, though. If you decide to be part of our world, the best part about it, and I think you're going to like this selling point here, is you get to stop doing everything you love and do all the stuff you hate. Isn't that awesome? Seriously. Isn't that cool? I think that's awesome. Now, here's the thing. Ain't nobody buying that. Right? Nobody is buying that product, right? So the thing is you can't really blame your child, right? You wouldn't buy either. Okay, everything you do is selling what it's like to be part of our world. Now, would they want to buy if it's filled with celebration and inviting and a chance for them to feel successful and a chance for them to feel accepted even if they don't do it perfectly, right? That's what we want. That's what we want. So if you want to help even a child with Asperger's syndrome, highly verbal, has trouble with social skills, you want to, 1, take away the situations where they're going to experience a lack of success, get really excited about what they're excited about and join them in it. And then use things that they're motivated about, like what I was talking about. Something, again, let's say they're really into houses and building houses, right? You can use that as a way to start to segue into a social conversation. Like, oh, so you get really into their building houses, you study what they want to study, you study an architect, you get into what they're into, and then you can say something like, oh, hey, this is great that we've just drawn this house on paper. Now here's the thing, we got to have some of our friends over, because it's a brand new house. We got to have some of our friends over. Okay, so how would you invite a friend over? You know what, I'll be your friend. You try and invite me over. You see if I come. And now you're starting to move into an area of challenge for them. And again, you want to be real playful and real easy about it. And if they do something socially that's kind of off, that's not the time to correct them and go, now remember, you don't want to do that because people aren't going to like it. You don't want to do it that way. You want to go, oh, that was a great try. You know what, I wasn't sure exactly what you meant. Could you say that again? Right? So you want to do it in a way that's playful and fun and inviting for them. Those are the places I would say to start. Okay. All right. I'm going to read this question, and I'm going to only spend a moment or two answering it, but I do want to say it because I think it's a question that people get tripped up on. here's the question. Are there any places to learn the Sunrise program in Indiana? I can't get to the East Coast without tons of money. It's by Suzanne in Indiana. Here's the thing. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that. The part about where you say you can't get here without tons of money. Actually, flights from Indiana to the East Coast aren't exorbitant. But more importantly than that, this is the kind of thing that we can help you with. Call one of our family counselors. We'll brainstorm with you. I guarantee you can fundraise to get here, and you can probably get some scholarship too. So I've never had someone who couldn't do the Sunrise program just because of a financial bump that's in their road. We can absolutely help you with this. Give us a call. That's not something that we charge for, so that won't cost you anything. And we will help you with this. Okay, let's go to the next thing. Neil from England. Hi, Neil. Hi, in England. You know, I do a speaking tour, lecture tour around the UK every year. I've done that every September for many years now, and we'll probably do it again this September. So I hope to see you there. Hi, Neil. He says, I've seen a lot about diets on the talk shows. Does the Sunrise program work with things like that? Diet and the DAN protocol, which stands for the Defeat Autism Now protocol. Okay. Let me answer your question very, very briefly. First of all, yes. Isn't that nice? Simple answer. Yes, we do. We work with that kind of thing. In fact, we are very supportive, as I was talking about in the recovery mode before, very supportive of biomedical intervention, dietary intervention. I don't know that I would get your dietary advice from the talk shows, though. Most people who they invite on the talk shows don't have a clue what they're talking about. So I wouldn't get your advice from there. But I would go see a DAN doctor, absolutely. We can also give you some pointers of some different directions to go into. You definitely want to do the biomedical stuff with the doctor's supervision. But absolutely we work with that. We want to help the whole child. We want to address the child's biology, neurology, social interaction, everything. So absolutely we do that. Okay, we are running out of time, people. I very much enjoyed having this time with you. I wish I could see all your faces. I'm sort of like just imagining a bunch of different people in England and the United States and in the Netherlands and in Australia. And I hope that you really found this useful and you enjoyed it. We are going to continue to have these seminars, especially in April. Every week we're going to have it for Autism Awareness Month, and then every other week after that. We're going to get more specific, help you with some specific things that you can learn to help your children. I want to remind you, autismtreatment.org. You can go to autismtreatment.org to get information. You can call. I'm going to give you two phone numbers. Our regular phone number, if you're from a different country, 413-229-2100. And if you're in the United States, you can dial our 800 number. That is 1-800-2. I just lost it. I've always hold on. It is, I know the last four numbers. Anybody have it? All right. It's 277? No, it's not 277. Okay. Well, I know the last four digits, but that ain't going to really help you now, is it? Okay. You know what? Pay for the call. Come on, you got cell phone minutes. Pay for the call. It's 413-229-2100. The other thing is go for that. Get that call that we can really help you with. I think that will be enormously beneficial to you. And lastly, I do want to say this. No matter what anyone's told you about your child, there is always hope. If anyone starts to accuse you of false hope, you can just say that, hey, there's nothing false about hope. And also understand that you're in much more danger from false pessimism than you are from false hope. Really, hold on, I'm being flashed information. This is a complicated endeavor. Okay, let me just give you this number real quick. It's 1-877-SUNRISE. Let me give you what those numbers are. 1-877-SONRISE or 1-877-766-7473. That's 877-766-7473. If you really don't want to pay for the call, give the 877 number a ring. Now, guys, I just want to say that thank you very, very much for coming. And you keep believing in your kids. We'll keep believing in your kids. And hopefully we'll get to see a lot of you soon. June 15th to June 20th is the next startup. Thank you very much.